Today we'll take a look at how to debug microservices in a Kubernetes cluster, developing and what does an ideal development workflow look like. So when there are multiple microservices being developed by not just by you, but by other team members as well. I have an Amazon EKS cluster running that I'll be using, but you're free to choose whatever Kubernetes cluster that you have. And in order for us to demonstrate, we'll use the sample repository, which has four microservices: person, product, recommendation, and review. And this is how the interaction events will look like. We have got the person microservice, which is being called by review microservice, which in turn is being called by product. Product also calls for recommendation, and the user can actually call product or recommendation review or person or whatever directly as well. So what we'll do is that in order for us to start, let's first go ahead and clone this repository. It should take done. So it's there, cd e-commerce, microservices, let's open it, and we are up and running. So what we'll be doing is that we will take a look at some of the files here, and the first thing that we'll do is we'll go ahead and deploy it using this particular script that I have here. It creates a namespace called e-commerce. Okay, ns.yaml. So I'll create a namespace by the name e-commerce. Okay, and uh, so not this deploy app, not delete app. Okay, so I've got this. I'll go ahead and create a namespace. Then it'll go ahead and deploy the person deployment and corresponding service. Let's take a look at what does this have. It has this particular deployment and corresponding service. So, and then similarly, we'll go ahead and deploy product microservice, recommendation, and review. So let's go ahead and deploy this. Deploy app. It'll take a minute or so. Done. Okay, get POSVC. So okay is simply an alias for kubectl. Damn. Okay. So this is somewhere that I'm doing in my default. Okay, so one more quick trick out here. I use this Kubernetes plugin for Visual Studio Code, and looks like we need to go to our e-commerce microservice. Okay, let's select our e-commerce microservices default namespace. Right click and then use namespace. Once we are done, okay, done. And that let's go. Cool. We've got these four pods running and four corresponding services running. So we're pretty good here. Now, in order for us to go ahead and now if you take a look at this service type, these are cluster IP services, which means that you cannot access any of these four services outside the Kubernetes cluster. In order for you to test them from a local machine, you can actually do a port forwarding, so that would work. But at any given point in time, you can actually run just one port forward. If you want to run more, you'll have to run multiple commands. And if you have multiple 5, 10 microservices, that quickly can become messy. So there has to be a better way. So there are two ways to do this. One is using OpenVPN. The second one is using Telepresence. In general, I would recommend Telepresence, except for one scenario, which we'll talk at a later point in time. And when should you use OpenVPN? So for us to be able to use Telepresence, let's first go ahead and install Telepresence from telepresence.io. Let's go redux, and what we want is installing Telepresence. I'm on Mac, so I'll simply go ahead and run these commands. But I've already run these commands. Telepresence is already installed on my machine. So all I have to do is run Telepresence now. And what I'll do is that I'll create a VPN tunnel in this particular namespace, e-commerce, from my machine. So let's run this. It'll take a minute or so. It'll ask me for my root password because it creates a VPN tunnel for which it requires root privileges. So it takes a minute or so to start. What it does is that essentially it spins up a pod in your Kubernetes cluster in the particular namespace, and it creates a tunnel. So we'll just wait for it to work, for it to run. So just waiting, waiting, waiting. Done. So now when you've got this prompt again, which means that util presence is running. Now, if you want to access this particular person, which is in the namespace e-commerce, you can actually access it straight away using person and don't forget to put the HTTP. Yay! So, yep. You see, isn't this amazing that you're able to get into the cluster directly from your local machine? And you can actually do this for review as well, and for product. So all of them are calling each other in turn. Now, once you are, we'll take a look at how to debug these things at a later point in time in another video. And but this itself is pretty amazing. Uh, if you want to get rid of telepresence at this point in time, just run exit, and the VPN tunnel will be terminated. So it should just take a minute, and you're done. So we'll hang up for that now. We will explore more things in another video.